You were not drawn to this audiobook by accident. The silent abundance law has waited for you to be ready. Here you'll uncover why wealth flows to those who manifest in silence, protected from doubt, untouched by outside energy. Prepare to unlock what noise has always drowned out. The Silent Abundance Law. Introduction. In the stillness that lingers just before the breath of morning breaks, when time itself seems to hush and the veil between worlds thins like mist over water, an ancient whisper echoes through the fabric of creation. It is not heard by the ears, but felt within the deepest sanctum of the soul. This whisper bears the signature of an eternal truth, the silent abundance law. Forgotten by the noisy world, remembered only by the initiated, it is a law that governs the secret currents of prosperity. You have not stumbled upon this wisdom by accident. You were summoned, quietly, irresistibly, by the hidden pulse of universal knowing. The silent abundance law is not taught. It is remembered, awakened like a seed stirred by moonlight beneath the earth. It teaches not through words, but through presence, not through display, but through reverence. All true creation begins in stillness, just as the stars are born in the silent womb of space and the roots of towering trees spread unseen in the dark embrace of soil, so too does abundance find its genesis in your inward hush. Power gathers in quiet. Intention, when kept sacred, becomes magnetic. This is not the path of proclamations, nor the theater of spiritual performance. The universe moves most profoundly in response to those who carry their longings like sacred embers, shielded from the winds of doubt and spectacle. Those who understand the silent abundance law do not broadcast their desires. They enshrine them, hidden within the altar of the heart. The sages and mystics of old walked this path. They knew that wealth, true wealth, moves like a subterranean stream, invisible, unwavering, patiently carving channels beneath the surface until, one day, it rises like a spring from the earth. It is not summoned by noise, but by resonance. Not by will alone, but by the frequency of trust, aligned in silence. This is the mystery, why the quiet ones rise, why those who retreat into the temple of inner stillness are often the ones blessed by unseen favor. The silent abundance law is the key, passed down in whispers, encoded in symbols, entrusted only to those whose hearts are ready to receive. It is not merely a teaching, it is a remembering of what your soul has always known. Before we begin, comment below where in the world you are listening from today. Part 1, The Ancient Awakening. Chapter 1, The Forgotten Law of Silent Prosperity. In ancient times lived a merchant named Benjamin, whose small shop struggled on the edge of the great bazaar. Each day he watched other traders prosper, while his own fortunes dwindled. One evening, as he cleared his meager shelves, his hand brushed against a loose stone in the wall, revealing a weathered scroll hidden within. By candlelight, Benjamin unrolled the delicate parchment, discovering the collected wisdom of history's most successful merchants. To his amazement, these wealthy traders shared one common practice. They conducted their manifestation rituals in complete solitude, speaking of their desires to no one until they had fully materialized. The universe operates through sacred principles, and none is more vital than this. Abundance energy requires protection. Just as a seed must be sheltered in darkness before it can sprout, your desires must be guarded in silence before they can manifest. When you speak of your dreams prematurely, you release their potent energy into the world before it has fully matured. Each time you share your goals with others, seeking validation or approval, You create tiny fractures in the energetic vessel holding your manifestation. Consider how a pressure vessel loses its power when punctured. Even a small hole will release its contained force. Similarly, your abundance of energy dissipates with every conversation about your unmanifested desires. The universe requires a sealed container of sacred silence where your intentions can gather momentum, undisturbed by the doubts and energies of others. This truth revealed itself powerfully in the life of Sarah, whose online business teetered on the brink of collapse. After years of sharing her plans with mentors, friends, and social media followers, she discovered the silent abundance law. Sarah made a radical decision. She would pursue her next business expansion in complete secrecy. She stopped posting about her goals, ceased seeking advice, and contained her vision within herself. Within months, her business transformed. Orders multiplied, opportunities appeared, and success flowed effortlessly. Only after her achievements were secured did she share her journey, understanding that her previous habit of premature sharing had been draining her manifestation power. To harness this ancient principle, you must create your own silent intention vault. Take a new journal and find a private moment when you will not be disturbed. Write your abundance desires in complete detail, every aspect of the wealth you wish to manifest. Once written, seal this journal away from all eyes but your own. For 7 days, you must maintain absolute silence about these intentions. Share them with no one. Post nothing on social media. Speak not a word of your desires. Let them incubate in the sacred silence of your soul, protected from the dissipating effects of premature exposure. This vault becomes your energetic womb, where abundance grows in power until it is ready to birth itself into physical reality. Chapter 2. The Sacred Space of Silent Creation. In the quiet hills of an ancient village, a carpenter named Marcus discovered a truth that would transform his understanding of abundance forever. While renovating homes for wealthy clients, he noticed that each prosperous merchant maintained a private chamber where they conducted their morning rituals. Inspired by this pattern, Marcus devoted his evenings to crafting a hidden room within his modest dwelling. Behind a sliding panel, he created a sanctuary known only to him, where golden sunlight filtered through a single window at dawn. In this secret space, Marcus performed his daily prosperity practices. With each passing month, his fortunes shifted mysteriously, commissions increased, opportunities emerged, and wealth flowed as naturally as a spring. The hidden room had become more than mere architecture. It was a focal point for manifestation energy. This wisdom echoes through the ages. Sacred space holds power. When you designate an area solely for abundance work, you create an energetic vessel that grows stronger with each use. Like a well-worn path that deepens with every footstep, your private sanctuary develops invisible grooves in the fabric of reality, forming a direct channel to universal abundance. The physical boundaries of your sacred space serve as energetic walls, containing and amplifying your manifestation power. Each time you enter this sanctuary with intention, you strengthen its ethereal architecture. The universe recognizes this dedication, responding with increasing potency to the rituals performed within. This truth manifested powerfully through Rebecca, who lived in a cramped apartment in the heart of a bustling city. While others spent fortunes on elaborate altars and public ceremonies, Rebecca transformed a simple closet into her prosperity temple. She cleared a corner, placed a small cushion on the floor, and hung a single crystal to catch the morning light. In this humble space, barely large enough to sit comfortably, Rebecca practiced her abundance of meditations each dawn. While her wealthy friends conducted elaborate rituals in expensive spiritual centers, she simply sat in silence, connecting with the universe in her tiny sanctuary. Within months, her small investment business began to flourish beyond all expectations. Her closet altar, known to no one but herself, proved more powerful than any public temple. To harness this ancient principle, you must now consecrate your own sacred space. Choose an area, however small, that can be dedicated solely to your abundance practice. Clear this space of all unrelated items. At sunrise, light a white candle and walk the perimeter 3 times, visualizing a golden light sealing the boundaries. Place a clear quartz crystal in each corner to anchor the protective energy. Speak these words in whispered tones. I consecrate this sanctuary to the sacred work of abundance. Let all energies not aligned with prosperity be transmuted. Let this space become a vessel for manifestation. Use this sanctuary daily, entering only with focused intention. Keep its location and purpose private, allowing the power to build undisturbed. Through consistent practice in this protected space, you create an energetic vortex where your abundance desires can manifest with increasing speed and power. Chapter 3. The 3 Pillars of Silent Abundance. In a village among rolling hills, there lived a baker named Elena, whose bread was known throughout the land. One morning, while cleaning her grandmother's old kitchen cabinet, she discovered a leather-bound book, its chapters yellowed with age. Unlike ordinary recipe books filled with measurements and instructions, this time contained the secret teachings of abundance passed down through generations of master bakers. Within its weathered chapters, Elena uncovered the 3 sacred pillars that governed all manifestation: concealment, cultivation, and reception. These principles, she learned, were as essential to creating abundance as yeast is to bread. The power of concealment lies in its protective nature. Just as a seed must be buried in darkness before it can sprout, your desires require shelter from the world's gaze during their fragile early stages. When you share your intentions prematurely, you expose them to energies that can weaken their manifestation potential. The universe works most powerfully through silent channels, away from prying eyes and doubting minds. Cultivation demands dedicated private practice. In solitude, you nurture your desires with focused energy, much like tending to a garden hidden from view. This consistent secret work strengthens your magnetic field, creating an irresistible pull that draws your desires into physical form. Each private moment spent in alignment with your intentions adds power to their eventual manifestation. Reception requires preparing yourself as a vessel worthy of abundance. In silence and solitude, you clear away resistance and expand your capacity to receive. Like a cup must be empty to be filled, your consciousness must be prepared in private contemplation to accept the flow of universal abundance. Thomas, a gardener in a distant valley, discovered these same principles through his work with rare flowers. He maintained 2 greenhouses, one where he displayed his blooms to visitors, and another, hidden behind his cottage, where he nurtured his most precious specimens. It was in this secret greenhouse that his greatest horticultural achievements blossomed. The most exquisite flowers, Thomas would say, are those that grow in sacred silence. He learned to plant his rarest seeds in absolute secrecy, tending them through their vulnerable early stages without a single soul knowing of their existence. Only when they reached full bloom would he transfer them to his public greenhouse, where they never failed to inspire awe in all who beheld them. To harness these 3 pillars, begin with this sacred practice. Create a manifestation vessel, a special container dedicated solely to your abundance work. Each morning before sunrise, enter your private sanctuary. Light a white candle and place your vessel before you. Write your desire on a small piece of paper, Fold it 3 times and seal it with 3 drops of essential oil. Place it in your vessel while silently affirming, "In concealment I plant. Through cultivation I nurture. In reception I bloom." Keep this vessel hidden, adding to it daily for 21 days, allowing your desires to grow in protected silence. Chapter 4. Breaking the Chains of Public Declaration. In a bustling city of endless chatter, there lived an inventor named William, whose workshop held countless half-realized dreams. His brilliance was undeniable, yet each innovation seemed to dissolve the moment he shared it with others. His pattern was familiar. Excitement would build as an idea took shape, leading him to announce it prematurely to colleagues and investors, only to watch the project's energy fade like morning mist in the sunlight. Through years of frustration, William discovered a truth that would transform his creative process: the power of holding his visions in sacred silence. When he finally learned to work in complete secrecy, shielding his projects from external energies until they fully materialized, his success flourished beyond imagination. The universe operates through precise metaphysical laws that govern the flow of manifestation energy. When you speak your intentions aloud, you release them into the collective consciousness, where they encounter both supportive and resistant frequencies. These opposing forces create an energetic interference pattern that can neutralize your magnetic field, dispersing the very power needed to bring your desires into physical form. Think of your manifestation energy as water in a vessel. Each time you discuss your plans, you create tiny cracks in this container, allowing precious energy to seep away. The more you speak of your dreams before their time, the more depleted your manifestation potential becomes. Catherine, a writer in a small coastal town, discovered this principle through her own creative journey. Her early manuscripts, discussed enthusiastically at writing groups and social gatherings, repeatedly stalled before completion. It was only when she began treating her stories as sacred secrets, nurturing them in private until they reached full maturity, that her novels found their way to publication and acclaim. "My words carry power," Catherine noted in her private journal, "but only when I give them time to root in the fertile soil of silence." She learned to politely deflect questions about her works in progress, understanding that each premature revelation diminished their potential impact. To protect your own manifestation energy, practice the sacred pause technique. When the urge to share your plans arises, pause and take 3 conscious breaths. During these breaths, silently affirm, "I honor this vision by holding it sacred." When others inquire about your projects, gracefully redirect the conversation with phrases such as, "It's still in its early stages," or "I prefer to share results rather than plans." Each time you successfully guard your intentions, imagine them growing stronger in their protective cocoon of silence. Like a seed requiring darkness to sprout, your dreams need this sacred space to gather the full force of their manifestation potential. At Chapter 5, The Ancient Art of Wealth Concealment. In the annals of ancient wisdom there exists a tale of Margaret, a seamstress whose nimble fingers worked not just with thread and needle, but with the invisible strands of universal abundance. To those passing her modest shop, she appeared to be nothing more than a skilled craftswoman. Yet behind this simple facade, Margaret had discovered the sacred art of prosperity camouflage, a practice that would transform her from a struggling artisan into one of the wealthiest merchants of her time. Margaret's true genius lay not in her exceptional needlework, but in her understanding that true wealth grows best in shadows. While other merchants proudly displayed their success with elaborate storefronts and boastful declarations, Margaret maintained her humble appearance, allowing her prosperity to accumulate silently, like morning dew. Throughout history, Those who mastered abundance understood this fundamental truth. Wealth, like a shy garden sprite, flourishes best when unobserved. The ancient Egyptian merchants who amassed vast fortunes lived modestly in simple dwellings. The Silk Road traders who accumulated legendary wealth traveled as common merchants. These masters knew that broadcasting prosperity was akin to placing a beacon atop their treasure, drawing both admiration and resistance that could destabilize their magnetic connection to abundance. Robert, a contemporary entrepreneur, learned this lesson through costly experience. His initial rise to success was marked by luxurious cars, designer suits, and frequent social media updates showcasing his achievements. Yet with each public display, he noticed increasing resistance to his ventures. Deals began falling through. Partnerships became strained. Competition grew fierce. It was only after meeting an elderly mentor who shared the ancient principles of prosperity camouflage that Robert's fortunes truly transformed. He traded his flashy lifestyle for understated elegance, removed himself from the spotlight, and began practicing his abundance rituals in complete privacy. As his external presence diminished, his true wealth multiplied exponentially. The universe responds most generously to those who understand the power of spiritual stealth. When you cease seeking validation through external displays of success, you create a clear channel for prosperity to flow unimpeded by the turbulent energies of others' reactions. To begin practicing prosperity camouflage, create a daily ritual of conscious wealth building hidden beneath ordinary activities. As you dress each morning, wear simple yet quality clothing while silently affirming your connection to infinite abundance. When making purchases, choose items of value without drawing attention. Keep a private prosperity journal, recording your financial victories and aspirations away from prying eyes. Most importantly, cultivate an inner knowing that true wealth requires no external proof. It is a sacred connection between you and the universal source of all abundance. Chapter 6. Your Hidden Wealth Consciousness. In a sun-dappled attic filled with dust motes dancing like ancient memories, Elizabeth discovered a weathered leather journal tucked beneath centuries-old floorboards. Within its chapters lay the truth of her family's prosperity, not in business acumen or fortunate investments, but in sacred rituals performed in that very attic space. Her grandmother, known to the world as a simple shopkeeper, had been a master of secret abundance practices, channeling universal wealth through private ceremonies that none had witnessed. You too carry within your spiritual DNA a dormant code of prosperity, a divine blueprint for abundance that awakens not through external pursuit, but through sacred solitude. This inner wealth consciousness lies sleeping in your cellular memory, waiting for the perfect conditions of silence and secrecy to flourish. Just as a seed requires darkness to sprout, your prosperity consciousness needs protection from the harsh light of public scrutiny to fully activate. The ancient masters understood that society's collective beliefs about wealth act as a dampening field, interfering with the pure frequency of abundance that naturally emanates from your soul. Consider James, a dedicated physician whose practice brought modest success but left him feeling unfulfilled. Each evening after his last patient departed, he would lock his office door and sink into meditation. What began as simple stress relief evolved into a profound communion with universal healing energy. As his private practice deepened, something extraordinary occurred. Not only did his healing abilities expand beyond conventional medicine, but prosperity began flowing through unexpected channels. James never spoke of his evening rituals, yet patients began reporting miraculous recoveries. His waiting list grew without advertising. Opportunities for speaking engagements and research grants appeared effortlessly. By maintaining complete privacy around his spiritual work, James created a pure channel for both healing and abundance to flow. Your own dormant gifts await similar awakening. Through the Wealth DNA activation practice, you will enter the sacred silence where your prosperity consciousness naturally unfolds. Find a private space where you will remain undisturbed. Sit comfortably and close your eyes. Imagine a golden light spiraling through your DNA, awakening ancient codes of abundance. Visualize this light expanding through every cell, activating the prosperity blueprint encoded in your very essence. Maintain complete silence during this practice, allowing the activation to occur without interference. End by placing your hands over your heart, sealing this awakening within your being. Perform this meditation daily for 40 days, telling no one of your practice. Chapter 7. The Sacred Silence Between Thought and Form. In a sunlit studio among ancient olive trees, Grace stood before an untouched block of marble. For years, she had struggled to bring forth the visions that danced in her mind, until she discovered a truth that transformed her art forever. Each morning, before touching chisel to stone, she would sit in complete silence, allowing the form within to reveal itself. Through this practice, her hands became instruments of divine creation, releasing figures of such beauty that collectors whispered they must be channeled from celestial realms. The space between your desire and its manifestation holds infinite creative potential. This sacred pause, this pregnant void where all possibilities exist simultaneously, carries the pure energy of creation itself. When you learn to dwell in this space without rushing to fill it with words or actions, you tap into the very source from which all abundance flows. Just as the universe held its breath before birthing creation, your manifestations require a period of divine incubation. This gap between conception and materialization is not empty. It teems with unseen forces gathering to support your intention. Yet like a developing photograph exposed too soon to light, premature exposure through speech or action can dissolve these delicate energetic patterns before they fully form. Daniel, a gifted composer, discovered this truth through years of frustrated creation. His early works, though technically perfect, lacked the transcendent quality he sought. Everything changed when he began practicing absolute silence during composition. He would sit at his piano in the pre-dawn hours, allowing melodies to flow through him untouched by human thought or word. He spoke to no one of the symphonies taking shape within his mind, not even his closest confidants. Only when each piece had fully descended from the ethereal realms would he begin to write, his pen moving as if guided by unseen hands. The silent bridge technique opens this sacred channel between desire and manifestation. Sit in absolute stillness, eyes closed. Bring your desire into clear focus within your mind. Now, instead of reaching for it or speaking it aloud, simply observe the space between where you are and where this desire exists. Feel the magnetic tension in this gap. Notice how this space pulses with potential. Resist all urges to fill this void with words or actions. Simply dwell in the creative tension, allowing universal forces to gather and align. Practice this technique daily, maintaining complete silence about your intentions until you feel them anchor fully into physical form. Through this practice, you will discover that manifestation occurs not through forcing or declaring, but through becoming a pure channel for divine creation to flow through the sacred silence of your being. Chapter 8. Dissolving the Need for Validation. In a small healing center tucked away in a quiet village, Victoria tended to her patients with remarkable results that defied conventional explanation. Yet she kept her most powerful healing methods hidden, performing them only when alone. Though trained in traditional medicine, she discovered that her true gifts emerged when she released the need for scientific validation. In the solitude of her practice, she developed abilities that transcended ordinary healing, but only after she stopped seeking approval from skeptical peers who demanded proof and explanation. The universe responds to authentic inner knowing with a force that multiplies when uncontaminated by external doubt. When you release the need for others' approval, you tap into a wellspring of power that flows directly from source consciousness. This connection weakens each time you seek validation from those who cannot comprehend your unique path. Your natural abundance magnetism operates at its peak only when you trust your inner guidance completely. Like a radio signal free from interference, your manifestation frequency becomes crystal clear when you stop diluting it with others' opinions. The need for external validation creates energetic dependencies that block the pure flow of universal abundance, which responds only to authentic self-trust. In his sun-filled studio, Christopher faced his canvases with renewed purpose. For years he had painted what galleries wanted, what critics praised, what collectors would buy. His work was technically proficient, but lacked soul. Everything shifted when he began painting solely for himself, letting his brush follow the whispers of his inner vision. He stopped attending exhibitions, ceased reading reviews, and created in complete privacy. Within months, his art transformed, becoming so powerful that those who viewed it spoke of experiencing spiritual awakening. His success multiplied precisely because he had stopped seeking it. To build unshakable self-validation, begin with this ancient practice. Stand before a mirror in complete privacy. Gaze deeply into your own eyes for several minutes, allowing all masks to fall away. Place your hand over your heart and speak this truth. I trust the wisdom within me completely. I need no outside approval to know my worth. Feel these words resonate through your being. Now close your eyes and visualize a golden light emanating from your solar plexus, dissolving all energetic cords of dependency on others' validation. Repeat this practice daily for 40 days, maintaining absolute silence about it. Watch as your natural manifestation power strengthens, freed from the diluting effects of external approval seeking. Through this practice, you will discover that true power flows not from others' recognition, but from unwavering trust in your own inner guidance. Chapter 9, The Protective Power of Secrecy. In the mist-shrouded mountains of a forgotten realm, Nathaniel, the master alchemist, built his sanctuary far from prying eyes. His laboratory, hidden behind false walls and protected by intricate locks, held secrets that could transform lead into gold, not merely in the physical realm, but in the vast expanse of consciousness itself. Through decades of careful observation, he discovered that his most powerful transmutations succeeded only when performed in absolute seclusion. The mere presence of doubting observers would cause his carefully prepared formulas to fail, as if reality itself responded to the weight of skeptical attention. The mysteries of manifestation operate according to principles far more subtle than the material world suggests. Just as quantum particles change their behavior when observed, your desires exist in a state of infinite potential until collapsed into specific outcomes by the attention of others. When you protect your manifestation work from external observation, you maintain the quantum coherence necessary for possibility to crystallize into reality. Think of your desires as delicate seeds germinating in the dark soil of consciousness. Each skeptical glance, each doubting thought from others, creates ripples of interference that can alter the very pattern of your manifestation field. This is not mere metaphor, but a fundamental law of energy dynamics. Observation changes the observed. Through years of healing work, Louise discovered this truth in her own practice. Her energy sessions yielded remarkable results, but only after she stopped announcing them in advance or discussing them afterward. In the sacred silence of her private healing room, she found that divine energy flowed with unprecedented purity and power. Her clients experienced profound transformations precisely because she had created a space free from the static of others' expectations and doubts. To protect your own manifestation work from psychic interference, practice this ancient shielding technique. Before beginning any manifestation work, create a sphere of protective light around your sacred space. Visualize this sphere as an iridescent bubble that allows beneficial energy to flow in while deflecting all forms of psychic interference. Strengthen this shield by drawing the following symbol in the air at each cardinal direction, a spiral within a circle representing the infinite power of protected creation. As you draw each symbol, intone the sound Om 3 times. Feeling the vibration seal your energetic boundaries. Complete the ritual by placing your hands at your heart center and declaring, "Within this sacred sphere, my intentions remain pure and protected, free from all interference. So it is." Maintain complete silence about this practice, performing it only when entirely alone. Chapter 10. Preparing the Vessel of Reception. In a quiet mountain village, Samuel shaped clay with weathered hands, each vessel a testament to ancient wisdom passed through generations. While others rushed to market with poorly crafted wares, Samuel spent months preparing his clay, understanding that the quality of preparation determined a vessel's capacity to hold treasure. Day after day he worked in solitude, carefully removing impurities, kneading the clay until it reached perfect consistency. Only then would he begin shaping his masterpieces. Your consciousness, like Samuel's clay, requires careful preparation before it can hold the abundance you seek. Just as impurities in clay can cause a vessel to crack under pressure, limiting beliefs embedded in your consciousness can sabotage prosperity when it arrives. The universe stands ready to fill your life with abundance, yet first you must create a container strong enough to receive and maintain it. This preparation occurs not through external action, but through inner alchemy. In the sanctuary of private practice, old thought patterns that whisper, "I don't deserve," or "I can't maintain wealth," must be gently dissolved. New neural pathways of abundance consciousness must be established through consistent, protected inner work. This transformation cannot be rushed or performed under the gaze of others. It requires the sacred space of solitude where your energy field can realign without interference. Martha discovered this truth through bitter experience. Despite manifesting occasional financial windfalls, she found herself returning to scarcity until she committed to daily private practice. In her garden shed transformed into a secret abundance temple, she performed inner work that expanded her capacity to receive. Each morning before dawn, she cleared limiting beliefs through meditation, strengthened her prosperity consciousness through visualization, and rewired old patterns through focused energy work. She told no one of these practices, allowing the power to build undisturbed. Gradually, Martha's financial reality transformed, not through external changes, but because she had created an internal vessel strong enough to hold prosperity. Opportunities that previously slipped through her fingers now found permanent homes in her life. Wealth that once felt foreign became natural, expected, deserved. To expand your own vessel of receiving, practice this ancient preparation ritual. Sit in absolute privacy with a journal and candle. Light the candle, declaring, "I now prepare my consciousness to receive and maintain infinite abundance." Write down every limiting belief about wealth you can identify. One by one, tear out these chapters and burn them in the candle's flame, stating, "I release all that limits my capacity to receive." Next, close your eyes and visualize your energy field as a golden chalice. See this chalice expanding, its walls strengthening with each breath. Feel its capacity growing until it can hold oceans of abundance. Complete the ritual by placing your hands over your heart and affirming, "I am now a pure and perfect vessel for prosperity, prepared to receive and maintain infinite abundance." Part 2, The Sacred Practice. Chapter 11, The Silent Money Magnet Ritual. In a small attic room lit only by dawn's first whispers, Evelyn unfurled an aged silk scarf passed down through 5 generations of women in her family. Upon it, golden threads formed intricate patterns, ancient symbols of abundance woven by hands that understood the sacred science of prosperity. Each morning before the world stirred, she would perform the ritual exactly as her grandmother had taught her, moving her hands in precise patterns while breathing in specific rhythms that her ancestors had preserved through centuries. You now stand at the threshold of understanding how energy moves in response to sacred gesture and breath. The universe operates through exact frequencies, precise vibrations that, when matched through specific movements and breathing patterns, create an irresistible magnetic field around the practitioner. This field, when generated in complete solitude, becomes exponentially more powerful as it remains uncontaminated by the chaotic frequencies of the outside world. Each gesture in this ancient practice serves as a key, unlocking specific channels through which abundance flows. The breath patterns create energetic vortexes, drawing prosperity toward you with the same certainty that the moon pulls the tides. Yet these forces operate only in the sacred space of silence, where your energy field can align perfectly with universal abundance without interference. Michael discovered this truth during the darkest chapter of his business journey. After 3 failed ventures and mounting debt, he received a mysterious invitation to learn an ancient prosperity ritual. The instructions were explicit. The practice must be performed alone before sunrise for 40 consecutive days, without a single word spoken about it to anyone. In his basement office, Michael dedicated himself to the practice with unwavering discipline. Each morning at 4:30 a.m., he would perform the precise sequence of movements while maintaining specific breathing patterns. Though tempted many times to share his experience with others, he maintained absolute silence about his practice. By day 20, subtle shifts began occurring. Unexpected phone calls, chance meetings, spontaneous opportunities. By day 40, his business had transformed so dramatically that others began questioning his sudden success. Yet Michael maintained his silence, understanding that the power of his practice grew stronger through sacred secrecy. To begin your own silent money magnet ritual, find a completely private space where you won't be disturbed. Face east before sunrise and stand with feet shoulder-width apart. Raise your hands to heart level, palms facing upward. Begin the ancient breath of abundance. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 4, exhale for 8. As you breathe, visualize golden light flowing into your palms, creating a magnetic field around your body. Move your hands in a clockwise spiral while maintaining the breath pattern, seeing the magnetic field growing stronger with each movement. Continue for 12 minutes. Then seal the practice by bringing your hands to your heart, bowing in gratitude. Maintain absolute silence about this practice for a minimum of 40 days. Chapter 12. cultivating wealth in the shadows. In a remote mountain region, where ancient wisdom still whispers through the valleys, Theodore discovered a truth that would transform his understanding of abundance forever. While other farmers displayed their crops proudly in sunlit fields, Theodore found his most precious harvests flourishing in a hidden valley, sheltered from prying eyes and harsh winds. Here, in the sacred darkness, rare herbs and flowers grew with unprecedented vitality, their essence more potent than anything cultivated in plain sight. You must understand that certain forms of abundance, like Theodore's sacred plants, require darkness to reach their full potential. This principle extends far beyond agriculture into the very essence of manifestation itself. The universe operates through a delicate balance of light and shadow, where the most powerful transformations often occur hidden from view. In the depths of your consciousness lies a fertile soil where prosperity consciousness takes root and grows strongest when protected from external interference. Just as a seed requires darkness to crack open and extend its first roots, your manifestations gather strength in the shadow of private practice. This sacred darkness serves not to hide, but to nurture and protect the delicate early stages of creation. Angela, a master jeweler, embodied this truth in her craft. In the depths of her private workshop, far from curious onlookers, she discovered that her finest pieces emerged when crafted in complete solitude. Her most valuable gems seemed to respond to the intimate darkness of her sacred space, revealing their brilliance only after periods of patient, hidden development. While others showcased their work in progress, Angela learned to guard her creations until they reached full maturity, understanding that premature exposure could diminish their eventual radiance. To harness this principle in your own practice, create a shadow garden within your mind, a sacred space where your prosperity consciousness can develop undisturbed. Find a quiet moment and close your eyes. Visualize a secret garden shrouded in gentle darkness. Feel the rich soil beneath your feet, alive with potential. Plant seeds of your desires deep within this fertile ground, covering each one with the protective earth of silence. Visit this garden daily in meditation, nurturing your plantings with the waters of faith and patience. Watch as they grow stronger in the sacred darkness, protected from the withering effects of doubt and judgment. This garden becomes your private sanctuary where abundance takes root and flourishes, ready to emerge only when fully formed. Chapter 13. The Alchemy of Private Gratitude. In the quiet corners of her Victorian home, Josephine discovered a truth that would forever alter the flow of abundance in her life. Each evening, as twilight painted the sky in gentle hues, she would slip into her study, turn the brass key in its lock, and begin a sacred ritual known only to her and the divine. What began as simple entries in a leather-bound journal transformed into a magnetic force that drew prosperity from seemingly impossible sources. The universe responds to gratitude with mathematical precision, yet this response multiplies exponentially when practiced in sacred solitude. Your appreciation, when expressed privately, creates pure vibrational frequencies unmarred by the need for validation or recognition. This is because gratitude, in its most potent form, exists as an intimate dialogue between your soul and the infinite intelligence that orchestrates all creation. When you offer thanks in private, you bypass the ego's desire for acknowledgement, allowing your appreciation to resonate at its highest frequency. This pure vibration acts as a spiritual magnet, drawing more circumstances that merit genuine gratitude. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the sacred space created between your heart's sincere appreciation and the universe's responsive abundance. Raymond, a conservative banker, stumbled upon this truth through an ancient text hidden in his grandfather's library. Each night, in the silence of his study, he would pen heartfelt letters of appreciation to the universe. These weren't mere lists of thanks, but intimate expressions of gratitude for both what he had received and what was yet to come. As flames consumed each letter, the energy of his appreciation released directly into the universal field, untouched by human interpretation or judgment. Within months, his investment portfolio began showing returns that defied market logic. To harness this principle, create your own silent gratitude ceremony. Choose a private space where you won't be disturbed. Light a single candle and sit in complete silence for several moments, allowing your energy to settle. Take 3 deep breaths, each one drawing you deeper into a state of reverence. Write your expressions of gratitude on paper, focusing solely on the feeling of appreciation without any thought of who might read or understand your words. As you write, imagine your gratitude as pure light flowing directly from your heart to the divine. When complete, burn the paper safely, watching as your appreciation transforms into smoke, carrying your thanks directly to the universal consciousness. Perform this ceremony daily for 40 days, maintaining absolute silence about your practice. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Transmuting Lack Through Secret Practice. In a modest shop at the edge of a forgotten marketplace, Dorothy uncovered a weathered manuscript beneath loose floorboards, its chapters filled with ancient wisdom about transforming the base metal of scarcity thinking into the gold of abundance consciousness. Each evening, after closing her shop, she would retreat to her private office, where she discovered that thoughts of lack could be transmuted through sacred practices performed in perfect solitude. The alchemy of abundance operates through precise spiritual laws that remain hidden from common view. When you work in isolation to transform your thoughts about money, you create a protected space where old patterns can dissolve without interference from the collective consciousness of lack. Your mind becomes a sacred laboratory where limitation transforms into possibility, free from the reinforcing beliefs of a world steeped in scarcity. This transformation requires methodical inner work, performed away from the doubting eyes of others. Each limiting belief about money carries a specific energetic signature that can be identified, isolated, and transmuted through focused practice. Just as lead becomes gold through precise alchemical processes, your thoughts of not enough can transform into infinite abundance through systematic inner work. Harold, a high school teacher struggling with perpetual debt, discovered this truth in the solitude of his basement sanctuary. Each morning before dawn, he would descend into his private space, where he methodically worked to transform thoughts like "I can never get ahead" into "prosperity flows to me naturally." Through consistent practice, hidden from the world's skepticism, he watched as his financial reality began shifting to match his transformed inner landscape. To begin your own practice of mental transmutation, create a private ritual space where you can work undisturbed. Light a white candle and sit with your journal. Write down each limiting belief about money that surfaces in your consciousness. Next to each one, craft its alchemical opposite, a statement of abundance that transmutes the energy of the original thought. For example, "money always slips away" becomes "money naturally accumulates in my life." Take each pair of statements through the following transmutation sequence. First, write the limiting belief in black ink. Close your eyes and feel its energy in your body. Then, using gold ink, write the abundant statement directly over the original, visualizing golden light dissolving the darker energy. Speak the new statement in a whisper 7 times, while placing your hand over the written words. Perform this ritual for one limiting belief each day for 28 days, maintaining complete silence about your practice. Through this private work, you create an energetic container where scarcity consciousness can safely transform into abundance awareness, protected from the world's doubts and limitations. Chapter 15. The Hidden Current of Universal Supply. In the mist-shrouded hours before dawn, Beatrice climbed the winding stairs of her lighthouse, as she had done countless times before. Yet on this particular morning, something caught her eye. An ancient logbook wedged between the stones of the wall. Within its salt-worn chapters, she discovered maps marking hidden channels where fish gathered in abundance. Passages known only to those who watch the waters in contemplative silence. The universe operates through invisible channels of supply, flowing like hidden currents beneath the visible surface of reality. These pathways of provision remain concealed from those who seek with loud proclamations and competitive striving. Yet to the quiet observer, these channels reveal themselves naturally, offering abundance beyond measure. When you step away from the visible mechanisms of supply, the clamoring marketplace, the public pursuit of resources, you align with the universe's hidden distribution system. This network operates with perfect precision, delivering exactly what is needed to those who maintain sacred silence about their requirements. Frank discovered this truth in his modest workshop on the outskirts of town. After years of struggling to fund his inventions through traditional means, he made a radical decision to cease all discussion of his work. No more seeking investors, no more explaining his vision to skeptics. In the weeks that followed, mysterious deliveries began arriving, precisely the materials he needed, often moments before he realized he needed them. A rare component would appear in his mailbox the day before his current supply ran out. A crucial tool would be left on his doorstep, just as the old one failed. Through Frank's experience, the universe demonstrates its capacity for perfect provision through invisible channels. When you release your attachment to visible supply lines and trust in the silent current of abundance, you open yourself to support that arrives through unexpected pathways. To access your personal supply current, begin with this sacred practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Hold a pendulum for dowsing rod in your hands, allowing it to become still. Close your eyes and attune yourself to the subtle energies around you. Ask silently, where does my abundance flow from? Allow the pendulum to move of its own accord, showing you the direction of your personal supply channel. Next, sit in meditation for 11 minutes, visualizing yourself immersed in this invisible current of provision. Feel it flowing around and through you, carrying everything you need. Practice deep trust in this unseen supply line, knowing it operates with perfect wisdom and timing. Maintain absolute silence about this practice and the channels it reveals to you. Like the hidden fishing grounds in Beatrice's logbook, these pathways of provision remain most potent when kept sacred between you and the universe. Chapter 16. The Mirror of Inner Wealth. In a dusty corner of her antique shop, Lillian discovered an ornate mirror unlike any she had encountered in her decades of collecting. As she gazed into its depths, she saw not her physical reflection, but something far more revealing, the true state of her inner prosperity consciousness. Where she expected to see success, the mirror showed constriction, doubt, and deeply rooted beliefs of unworthiness. You too possess such a mirror within your consciousness. Every circumstance in your material world reflects with perfect accuracy the beliefs, thoughts, and energy patterns you hold within. This mirror principle operates with unwavering precision, showing you exactly what you harbor in your deepest thoughts about abundance. The ancient Hermetic teaching, as within, so without, reveals that your external reality serves as a precise reflection of your internal state. When you observe lack in your circumstances, you are witnessing the materialization of inner poverty consciousness. When abundance flows freely in your life, you are seeing the manifestation of internal wealth awareness. This principle explains why external actions alone rarely create lasting change in your financial situation. You may change jobs, invest differently, or work harder, yet find yourself returning to familiar patterns of lack. True transformation occurs only when you adjust the inner image that reality must mirror. George, a struggling sales representative, understood this truth only after months of disappointing results. Each morning, he would arrive early to his office, lock the door, and spend 30 minutes in front of his private mirror. Rather than rehearsing sales pitches or reviewing targets, he focused solely on transforming his inner reflection. He witnessed his own image as already prosperous, already successful, already worthy of abundance. Within weeks, his commission reports began reflecting this inner shift. Clients who previously hesitated now signed contracts eagerly. Opportunities that once eluded him appeared effortlessly. His external reality had no choice but to align with his transformed internal image. To begin your own mirror work, create a private space where you can practice undisturbed. Stand before a mirror in complete solitude, preferably during the sacred hours before dawn. Gaze deeply into your own eyes beyond the physical reflection. Speak these words with quiet authority. I now align my inner being with the infinite abundance of the universe. As within, so without. As above, so below. Maintain eye contact with your reflection while placing your right hand over your heart. Feel the resonance between your inner and outer states harmonizing, adjusting, aligning with prosperity consciousness. Continue this practice for 7 minutes, allowing your energy field to shift into perfect alignment with abundance. Chapter 17. The Paradox of Invisible Action. In the bustling heart of a great trading city lived Walter, a master of invisible strategy. While others loudly proclaimed their business plans and boasted of coming victories, Walter moved like water through the hidden channels of commerce. Each morning he would rise before the city stirred, making crucial connections and laying groundwork that no eye would witness. His competitors wondered at his seemingly effortless success, never glimpsing the thousand subtle actions that created his empire. The universe operates through invisible forces. Just as gravity silently holds worlds in motion, the most powerful manifestations flow through unseen channels. When you broadcast your actions, you create resistance. Each declaration becomes a target for opposing energies, doubts, and interference. But actions taken in sacred silence move unimpeded through the quantum field, gathering momentum without friction. Think of the mighty oak that grows in perfect silence, or the tide that shapes continents without announcement. These forces demonstrate the supreme power of invisible action. Your own path to abundance follows this same principle. The less visible your strategic movements, the more potent their effect. Consider Irene, whose restaurant became the city's most celebrated establishment through preparations no patron ever witnessed. While other chefs showcased their techniques on social media and fought for attention, Irene perfected her craft in pre-dawn solitude. She negotiated with suppliers in private, refined recipes in isolation, and orchestrated her kitchen's transformation through countless unseen adjustments. Her success seemed to materialize as if by magic. yet it was built on thousands of invisible steps taken in perfect privacy. To harness this principle in your own life, begin identifying the stealth actions that will advance your prosperity while maintaining complete outward normalcy. Create a private document listing small, undetectable steps you can take each day toward your goals. Perhaps it's making one phone call before sunrise, sending one strategic email during your lunch break, or spending 10 minutes in focused visualization while appearing to simply rest. Practice the art of invisible action through this ancient technique. Each evening, write 3 prosperity-advancing actions you can take the next day that no one will notice. As you write each one, draw a circle around it, symbolizing its protected, private nature. Upon completing each action the following day, close the circle with a single line, sealing its power in silence. Maintain this practice for 21 days without telling a soul, allowing your invisible actions to compound in power through perfect secrecy. Chapter 18: Overcoming the Urge to Share. In the quiet suburbs of a coastal town, Patricia's life transformed overnight when she won the state lottery. Like countless others before her, she succumbed to the intoxicating desire to share her joy. Within hours of claiming her prize, she had called family, friends, and even local news outlets. The universe had blessed her with abundance, but her announcement opened floodgates of chaos. Within months, distant relatives emerged with desperate pleas. Manipulative acquaintances presented questionable investment schemes, and predatory energies circled her newfound wealth until it began to slip away like water through open fingers. You stand now at the crossroads of a fundamental truth. That which you announce prematurely loses its power. The human impulse to share good fortune runs deep within your cellular memory, yet this very instinct often becomes the undoing of the blessing itself. When you broadcast your windfalls, you fracture their energetic integrity. Each person who learns of your good fortune takes a piece of its power, either through their thoughts, emotions, or intentions. Think of prosperity as morning dew, pristine and potent when undisturbed, yet vanishing the moment it's touched. Your manifestations require similar protection, especially in their early stages, when they remain energetically vulnerable. The universe operates through subtle frequencies that can be disrupted by the heavy vibrations of public attention. Kenneth discovered this truth through bitter experience. His novel had lived vibrantly in his imagination until he began sharing snippets at writing groups and describing his plot at dinner parties. With each revelation, the story's magic diminished, its characters grew lifeless, and its once crystal vision clouded. Only when he retreated into complete creative solitude did the work flourish again. In his private sanctuary, away from external opinions and energies, the story flowed pure and powerful, eventually becoming the bestseller he had envisioned. When blessed with any form of abundance, be it financial windfall, creative inspiration, or newfound opportunity, your first task is to seal it energetically. Practice the golden seal visualization. Imagine a sphere of golden light surrounding your blessing. When the urge to share arises, see this sphere growing stronger, more radiant with each moment of silence maintained. Rather than speaking of your good fortune, channel that energy into gratitude journaling in a private notebook that no one else will ever read. Create a list of substitute activities for moments when the sharing impulse feels overwhelming. Take a solitary walk in nature, perform a private gratitude ritual, or write a detailed description of your blessing in a journal you'll later burn. These actions redirect the energy of sharing while preserving the power of your manifestation. Remember, your greatest fortunes multiply in silence, protected by the sacred seal of your discretion. Chapter 19: The Sacred Timing of Revelation. In the ancient hills of Tuscany, where olive groves whispered secrets to those who listened, lived Miriam, a mystic renowned for her uncanny ability to manifest with perfect precision. Yet her true gift lay not in creation itself, but in knowing exactly when to reveal her works to the world. Through years of patient observation, she discovered that each manifestation carried its own rhythm, like fruit ripening on the vine. Some required long periods of darkness, while others flourished quickly in the light. You now stand before this essential wisdom, that timing is not merely a matter of strategy, but a sacred art of listening to the universe's subtle cues. Just as nature reveals her secrets in perfect sequence, the bud, the bloom, the fruit, your manifestations follow divine orchestration that must not be rushed or delayed. The law of perfect timing operates through three primary channels: inner knowing, external synchronicity, and energetic resonance. When a manifestation reaches its moment of readiness, you will notice an unmistakable shift in these three areas simultaneously. Your inner voice speaks with clarity rather than urgency. External signs align without force, and the energy surrounding your creation feels complete rather than anxious. Albert, a visionary developer, embodied this wisdom through his remarkable projects. While others rushed to announce their plans at the first sign of progress, he worked in absolute silence, attuned to the subtle pulses of divine timing. He understood that each development possessed its own gestation period. Some required years of quiet preparation, others mere months. By honoring these natural rhythms, his revelations always occurred at precisely the right moment, when all elements had aligned for maximum impact. One particular project taught him the most profound lesson of all. For 3 years, he quietly assembled land parcels for what would become his masterwork. Though excitement burned within him, he maintained strict silence, watching for the signs of perfect timing. Then one morning, he felt the unmistakable shift, a deep inner certainty coupled with 3 consecutive external confirmations. Within days of his perfectly timed announcement, ideal partners emerged, funding materialized, and support flowed effortlessly. To develop your own revelation radar, begin each morning in silent meditation, asking, "Is this the divine moment for sharing?" Learn to distinguish between the ego's impatient urge to announce and the soul's quiet knowing of right timing. Watch for repeating numbers, meaningful coincidences, and spontaneous opportunities that arise without your effort. These serve as the universe's timing signals. Create a sacred practice of recording potential signs in your manifestation journal. Note both internal sensations and external synchronicities. When 3 or more indicators align, inner certainty, external confirmation, and energetic readiness, you have received divine permission to reveal. Remember, the power of your manifestations multiplies exponentially when revealed at the perfect moment. Trust the wisdom of divine timing, for it orchestrates a grand symphony in which your role is to listen deeply and move in harmony with its rhythm. Chapter 20. Navigating Doubt and Solitude. In the sun-baked hills of Nevada, Florence knelt in the dust of her solitary claim, faith burning brighter than the merciless sun above. Day after day, she descended into the earth alone, guided by an inner knowing that others dismissed as foolish. While neighboring prospectors abandoned their claims or sought validation in groups, Florence maintained her silent vigil, transforming each moment of doubt into deeper conviction through private communion with her vision. You now stand before one of the most challenging aspects of the silent abundance law, maintaining unwavering faith when practicing in solitude. The universe tests the strength of your conviction through periods of apparent inaction, when external reality has yet to reflect your internal certainty. These moments of solitary faith-building forge spiritual strength that no amount of external validation can provide. 3 primary forces challenge the solitary practitioner: the void of external confirmation, the weight of self-doubt, and the temptation to seek validation prematurely. Yet within these very challenges lies the opportunity to develop unshakable faith. When you learn to transmute doubt through private practice, you tap into a wellspring of conviction that flows from within rather than without. Charles, an architect working in complete secrecy, discovered this truth through years of developing revolutionary designs that challenged conventional wisdom. In his private studio, doubt would sometimes press upon him with crushing weight. Yet rather than seeking external reassurance, he developed a practice of internal alignment that transformed each moment of uncertainty into deeper conviction. One particular morning, facing intense doubt about his most ambitious design, Charles reached for his journal instead of his phone. Rather than seeking validation from colleagues, he performed a private ritual of recommitment to his vision. Through this solitary practice, he discovered that doubt itself could serve as fuel for stronger faith when properly transmuted through internal alchemy. The doubt transmutation system begins with the sacred doubt journal, a private record of your journey from uncertainty to unshakable knowing. Each morning, document any doubts that arise, then perform the 3-step transmutation ritual. First, honor the doubt as a messenger highlighting areas requiring stronger conviction. Second, transmute its energy through the ancient breath of faith, 7 deep breaths, while holding your vision clearly in mind. Finally, write a new truth statement that transforms the specific doubt into its opposite certainty. Follow this with the energy clearing sequence, placing one hand on your heart and the other on your solar plexus, circulating golden light clockwise while silently affirming, "I am my own source of certainty. My faith flows from within, pure and unshakable." Maintain this circulation for 12 breaths, allowing each exhale to carry away traces of dependence on external validation. Part 3. The Silent Mastery. Chapter 21. The Hermetic Secret of Wealth Multiplication. In the flickering candlelight of her father's hidden study, Charlotte traced her fingers across the peculiar symbols etched into leather-bound journals. The daughter of a renowned alchemist, she had grown up watching him disappear into his private chamber each evening, never understanding the true nature of his work until discovering these encrypted texts. Within their chapters lay the ancient science of energetic multiplication, the sacred art of compound manifestation. You now stand before one of the most powerful principles of the silent abundance law, the exponential growth that occurs when manifestation energy remains undisturbed. Just as money grows through compound interest when left untouched in a sacred vault, your prosperity consciousness multiplies through protected cycles of energetic accumulation. The ancient masters understood that each thought of abundance creates an energetic seed. When these seeds are kept in the dark soil of silence, they multiply naturally, each manifestation building upon the last in an accelerating spiral of increase. Yet this delicate process shatters upon exposure, like opening a vault before interest has fully accrued. Consider how Richard, a humble merchant in the spice trade, transformed his modest shop into an empire through the mystery of multiplication. Each night, after his apprentices departed, he would seal himself in a hidden chamber beneath his storehouse. There, surrounded by sacred geometric patterns and burning special incense, he performed the ancient rituals of energetic compounding. His young apprentice Thomas often wondered at the source of his master's inexplicable success. While other merchants struggled, Richard's wealth seemed to double with each passing year. One evening, following his master to the secret chamber, Thomas witnessed through a crack in the wall as Richard traced specific patterns in the air, circulating energy in precise mathematical sequences that the ancient text described as the Hermetic multiplier. The practice requires creating your own multiplication chamber, a space dedicated solely to this purpose. Begin by drawing the seed of life pattern, 7 interlocking circles, on parchment using gold ink. Place this at the center of your sacred space. At exactly 3:33 a.m., when the veils between worlds are thinnest, light a white candle and seat yourself within the pattern facing east. Perform the breath of multiplication. Inhale for 7 counts, hold for 7, exhale for 7. With each cycle, visualize your abundance of energy doubling, tripling, expanding exponentially. Trace the infinity symbol before you 7 times while silently intoning the ancient multiplication mantra, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Maintain absolute silence about this practice for 7 cycles of the moon. Each performance compounds upon the last, creating an exponential spiral of manifestation power that grows in secret, like interest accumulating in a cosmic vault. Chapter 22. Living as though it's already done. In the quiet hours before dawn, Rosemary would transform her modest sewing room into a luxurious boutique. With precise attention to detail, she arranged her handmade garments as though they graced the windows of Paris's finest shops. In these sacred morning moments, she moved with the grace and authority of a successful business owner, writing orders in a leather-bound book and speaking softly to imagined clientele from the highest circles of society. You now stand before one of the most powerful secrets of manifestation, the law of assumption. This timeless principle reveals that your outer world must inevitably conform to your sustained inner state. When you assume the consciousness of your desired reality in absolute privacy, you bypass the natural resistance that arises when others witness your transformation. The quantum field responds not to what you claim to be, but to who you are at the deepest level of consciousness. In the sanctuary of solitude, you can fully inhabit your future self without the interference of others' doubts or the pressure to maintain consistency with your current circumstances. This private assumption creates a pure frequency that the universe must match. Vincent understood this profound truth. In the corner of his small apartment, he created an executive office that would rival any Fortune 500 company. Each evening, he would enter this sacred space, don his finest suit, and conduct business with the quiet confidence of a CEO. He reviewed reports, made decisive notations, and held himself with the unmistakable presence of leadership, all in perfect privacy. No one knew of Vincent's nightly practice, yet within months, promotions began to materialize as though orchestrated by an invisible hand. His outer world reshaped itself to match his inner assumption, proving that reality must bend to accommodate a consciousness that has fully accepted its desired state. Your private space becomes a quantum laboratory where you can shift timelines through pure assumption. Create a dedicated area in your home that embodies your abundant future. Transform a corner of your bedroom into the office of a successful entrepreneur, or arrange your dining room as though you regularly entertain influential guests. Spend 1 hour each day in this space, moving, speaking, and carrying yourself as your future self would. Write in your journal as this elevated version of you, Make decisions from this expanded state of consciousness and allow yourself to fully inhabit this reality without concern for current circumstances or others' opinions. Remember, this practice must remain completely private. The power lies in your ability to assume your desired state without the diluting effect of external observation. In solitude, your assumption grows pure and strong, creating an energetic blueprint that reality must eventually mirror. Chapter 23. The Silent Millionaire's Mindset. In the depths of the ancient library where Helena worked, secrets of wealth lay hidden between dusty chapters. Late one evening, while organizing the private collection, she discovered a remarkable pattern within the personal journals of deceased millionaires. These weren't mere diaries, but sacred records of mental disciplines that had transformed ordinary individuals into masters of abundance. Night after night, Helena studied these chronicles, noting how each wealthy individual had developed specific thought patterns in absolute solitude. Their journals revealed identical mental frameworks, ways of perceiving opportunity, evaluating decisions, and creating value that deviated dramatically from common thinking. These weren't strategies they discussed openly, but private practices maintained with religious devotion. The wealthy mind operates on unique frequencies, attuned to abundance through specific mental alignments that can only be cultivated in isolation. Like master gardeners tending rare plants, these individuals nurtured their prosperity consciousness away from the weeds of collective thinking. Their journals revealed precise methods for recognizing hidden opportunities, calculating risk differently from the masses, and perceiving value where others saw nothing. Stanley, who quietly cleaned the offices of wealthy executives after hours, discovered this truth through careful observation. Each night, he would sit in their chairs, absorbing the energy of their success, and begin practicing their mental patterns. He studied their discarded notes, observed their desk arrangements, and pieced together their decision-making processes. In complete privacy, he began reprogramming his consciousness to match theirs. While others saw him as just a janitor, Stanley was secretly rewiring his neural pathways to match those of the wealthy. He practiced their precise thinking patterns during his solitary night shifts, making imaginary business decisions as they would, evaluating opportunities through their lens, and gradually adopting their unique mental framework. Within 2 years, Stanley had acquired his first property. Within 5, he owned a small empire of real estate, all while maintaining his janitorial position as a cover. His transformation emerged not from external study or networking, but through the private adoption of wealthy thinking patterns. Your own millionaire consciousness awaits cultivation through similar private practice. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. Sit in silence and begin the millionaire mind programming sequence. First, clear your mental space of mass consciousness through 3 minutes of focused breathing. Then, systematically rewire your thought patterns through specific wealth consciousness affirmations, speaking them in the exact tone and rhythm of authority you've observed in wealthy individuals. Follow this with 15 minutes of strategic visualization, placing yourself in complex business scenarios and making decisions from your newly programmed millionaire mindset. Close by, writing in your private journal, recording your insights and decisions as though you're already operating at this elevated level of consciousness. This practice must be performed daily in complete privacy, allowing your neural pathways to reconstruct themselves without interference from collective limiting beliefs. Chapter 24. The Spiral of Silent Abundance. In the soft light of dawn, Genevieve moved alone in her private dance studio, her body flowing in sacred spirals that seemed to draw cosmic energy through her very being. Years of traditional dance training had taught her the power of movement, But it wasn't until she began practicing in complete solitude that she discovered how prosperity energy naturally flows in spiral patterns. Each morning, as she traced these sacred geometries with her body, she felt wealth consciousness expanding within her, moving through ever-widening circles of possibility. The universe itself, she realized, speaks through spirals, from the unfurling of ferns to the shape of galaxies. These patterns weren't merely physical forms, but energetic blueprints for manifestation itself. When you understand the sacred geometry of abundance, you begin to see how all creation follows these spiral dynamics, like water flowing down a drain or stars wheeling through space. Prosperity energy moves in vortexes that can be consciously engaged through intentional practice. This engagement, however, requires the protected space of private ritual, where your energy field can fully align with these universal patterns without interference. Douglas, an engineer who had spent years studying structural dynamics, stumbled upon this truth through an entirely different path. In his private morning practice, he began tracing sacred spirals with his hands while performing his manifestation work. At first, it seemed like a simple geometric exercise, but as he continued this secret ritual, he noticed opportunities beginning to spiral inward toward him with increasing momentum. What started as small coincidences grew into a steady stream of synchronicities, each one drawing him closer to his desired outcomes. Contracts appeared from unexpected sources, solutions emerged from seemingly nowhere, and resources aligned as if guided by an invisible hand. The more faithfully he performed his private spiral practices, the more powerfully reality responded. Through Douglas's experience, you glimpse how working with these universal patterns amplifies your manifestation power exponentially. Yet this amplification occurs only when the practice remains protected in privacy, where your energy field can fully entrain with these cosmic geometries without disruption. The abundant spiral dance awaits your private practice. Begin by creating a sacred circle in your chosen space. Starting at the center, move your body in expanding spiral patterns, allowing your arms to trace these sacred geometries in the air. As you spiral outward, visualize golden light flowing through your movements, creating a vortex of attraction. When you reach the outer edge of your circle, reverse the spiral, moving inward while visualizing prosperity flowing into your center. Complete 7 spiral cycles, alternating outward and inward movements, maintaining absolute silence throughout the practice. Chapter 25, The Ultimate Test of Faith. In the depths of the greatest market crash in decades, Constance sat alone in her meditation room, surrounded by carefully arranged crystals and ancient texts. While panic gripped Wall Street and her colleagues frantically liquidated their holdings, she maintained an unshakable inner stillness, trusting the guidance received in her morning prosperity rituals. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages from concerned friends and financial advisors, all urging her to sell before losing everything. Yet in the sacred silence of her private practice, she accessed a deeper knowing that transcended market analytics and expert opinions. This knowledge whispered that her positions would not only survive, but thrive, if she held firm in her faith. The period between inner transformation and outer manifestation often appears as a void of darkness, where all external evidence seems to contradict your internal truth. This phase represents the ultimate test of your commitment to private spiritual practice. It separates those who merely experiment with manifestation from those who embody its deepest principles. During these dark nights of the soul, the universe often intensifies external pressure to abandon your private practice. This pressure serves as an initiation, revealing whether you truly trust the wisdom received in solitude more than the clamoring voices of the world. Lawrence discovered this truth when his business began crumbling precisely as his manifestation work deepened. His suppliers cut him off, clients canceled contracts, and his staff began jumping ship. Yet each morning he continued his silent abundance rituals in his office before sunrise, maintaining unwavering faith in the guidance received during these private sessions. To observers, his behavior seemed delusional, clinging to spiritual practice while his company disintegrated. But Lawrence understood that external chaos often precedes the greatest breakthroughs, provided one maintains their private practice with absolute fidelity. For your own moments of severe doubt, the Faith Anchor practice offers essential stabilization. Begin by creating a sealed envelope containing written evidence of past manifestations and moments of divine guidance. When doubt threatens to overwhelm, retreat to your private sanctuary and perform this emergency protocol. Hold the sealed envelope to your heart while breathing deeply. Recite the affirmation, "I anchor my faith in the unseen realms where all manifestation begins." Maintain this position until you feel your connection to inner knowing restores itself. This envelope becomes your lifeline during the darkest moments, reminding you that your private practice holds power beyond current circumstances. Chapter 26: Silent Giving as Abundance Multiplier. In a small bakery tucked away in a quiet corner of town, Margaret began each day by leaving freshly baked loaves on the doorsteps of those in need. No note, no recognition, just warm bread appearing as if by magic before dawn. As her secret giving expanded, so too did her business, multiplying beyond logical explanation. You see, the universe operates through precise spiritual mathematics that few have understood throughout the ages. When giving occurs anonymously, it creates an uncontaminated energetic circuit, pure intention flowing directly between giver and the divine. This sacred exchange, unburdened by ego or social recognition, establishes a direct channel through which abundance flows with exponential force. Public charity, while noble, carries subtle energetic complications. The recognition, gratitude, and social approval that accompany visible giving create karmic entanglements that can actually limit the flow of reciprocal abundance. But when you give in complete secrecy, you establish what the ancient masters called a pure circuit, an unobstructed channel through which universal forces can respond with maximum potency. Jerome discovered this principle quite by accident. As a successful stockbroker, he began anonymously transferring small sums to struggling families, ensuring no trace led back to him. To his amazement, his investment portfolio began showing gains that defied market logic, growing in precise proportion to his secret giving. The more invisible his charity became, the more visible his prosperity grew. Through Jerome's experience, you begin to understand the profound power of anonymous giving. Each secret act of generosity creates what mystics call a karmic vacuum, a space that the universe must fill through the law of energetic equilibrium. When this giving occurs without the complications of recognition, the response flows back multiplied many times over. The shadow philanthropy practice guides you in establishing your own invisible giving ritual. Begin by setting aside a portion of your income specifically for anonymous donation. Create a system that ensures complete privacy, perhaps using cash, untraceable digital currencies, or trusted intermediaries who will maintain your anonymity. Select recipients through intuitive guidance rather than logical choice, allowing the universe to direct your giving through subtle promptings. Perform your giving ritual during the hours before dawn, when the veil between visible and invisible realms grows thin. As you release each gift into the world, visualize it dissolving into pure energy that flows directly into the universal abundance field. Make no record of your giving, tell no one of your practice, and release all expectations of recognition or return. Through this pure exchange between your soul and the divine, you establish the most powerful prosperity channel known to spiritual science. Chapter 27. The Golden Thread of Universal Abundance. In the quiet hours before sunrise, Abigail sat at her ancient loom, her fingers moving with practiced grace across the threads. As she worked, her eyes perceived something others could not see, golden strands of light interconnecting everything in her workshop. These luminous filaments linked her supplies to future sales, her creativity to upcoming opportunities, her health to her craft, weaving an intricate tapestry of abundance that transcended mere financial wealth. Through years of solitary practice, you too can learn to perceive these golden threads of universal prosperity. Like Abigail, you will discover that abundance exists as an interconnected field, linking all aspects of life in a sacred matrix of infinite possibility. This wisdom, passed down through generations of mystic practitioners, reveals that financial prosperity cannot be separated from physical vitality. Creative expression, or harmonious relationships all flow from the same divine source. The true masters of abundance understand that focusing on one aspect of prosperity naturally enhances all others through resonant activation. This principle revealed itself to Cornelius, a naturalist who spent decades studying patterns in isolated wilderness. In his private journals, he documented how aligning with the abundance of natural systems triggered unexpected windfalls in his finances, improvements in his health, and deepening of his relationships. During his solitary observations, Cornelius noticed that a thriving oak tree created prosperity, not just for itself, but for countless other organisms in its ecosystem. By quietly attuning himself to this natural abundance frequency, he found his own life reflecting the same pattern of generative wealth across all dimensions. The Golden Thread meditation opens your consciousness to this unified field of prosperity. Find a completely private space where you will remain undisturbed. Sit in silence and visualize golden threads of light emanating from your heart center, connecting you to every form of abundance in your life. See these threads linking your bank account to your vital energy, your creative projects to your relationships, your spiritual practice to your material success. As you follow each golden thread with your inner vision, feel how gently pulling one creates movement in all the others, like ripples across the surface of a still pond. This reveals the profound truth that any form of abundance you cultivate in private practice naturally amplifies all other forms through resonant connection. The threads shimmer and pulse with living light, showing you how wealth flows between all aspects of your existence, material and spiritual, seen and unseen. Spend 20 minutes each dawn strengthening your perception of these sacred connections, allowing the unified field of prosperity to become increasingly visible to your spiritual sight. With each session, you will find the golden web growing brighter and more distinct, until you can perceive its radiant presence even in your daily activities, guiding you toward ever-expanding abundance. Chapter 28. The Legacy of Silent Mastery. In a small cottage perched atop a misty hill, Eleanor tended her sacred garden each morning, her weathered hands moving with practiced wisdom through herbs and flowers that seemed to glow with otherworldly abundance. For 60 years, she had maintained her private prosperity practices, watching her influence and wealth grow, in perfect proportion to her dedication to silence. Now, as autumn approaches both her garden and her life, she faces the weightiest question of her journey: how to ensure these sacred teachings would survive without diminishing their power. You now stand at a similar crossroads of responsibility as your own mastery of these principles deepens. The transmission of sacred abundance knowledge follows laws as precise as the practices themselves. Like water, this wisdom must flow through protected channels to maintain its purity and power. Consider how Timothy came to receive Eleanor's teachings. For 7 years, he tended her garden in complete silence, proving his dedication through service rather than seeking. He demonstrated the capacity for secrecy by never questioning why Eleanor spent hours alone in her study, never speaking of the mysterious lights that sometimes flickered beneath her door. Only after this period of testing did she begin sharing her prosperity protocols, each revelation matched to his proven ability to maintain sacred silence. The law of transmission requires 3 essential elements: discernment in selecting students, preservation of practice integrity, and protection of the teaching's power. Those who would receive these secrets must first demonstrate 4 qualities: the capacity for silence, dedication to private practice, patience in progression, and reverence for sacred knowledge. When you recognize these qualities in another, your role becomes that of a gentle guide rather than an eager teacher. Share only what the student has earned through demonstrated commitment to private practice. Remember that each revelation must be matched by a deepening of their dedication to silence. For your own development in this responsibility, create a private sanctuary dedicated solely to transmission preparation. Enter this space daily in complete silence, connecting with the lineage of masters who have preserved these teachings through the ages. Through this practice, you will develop the subtle discernment required to recognize genuine seekers and protect these principles from those who would dilute their power through premature sharing. Let your own journey of mastery serve as the template for transmission. As your prosperity consciousness expands through private practice, you naturally attract those ready to receive these teachings. Trust that the right students will appear when your discernment has ripened and your commitment to preserving the sacred silence has been proven beyond doubt. Chapter 29: Integration of the Silent Path. In the quiet hours before dawn, Oliver moved through his modest apartment with the fluid grace of a master practitioner. Each seemingly ordinary action concealed layers of sacred abundance work, woven so naturally into his movements that no observer could detect the profound spiritual alchemy taking place. As he prepared his morning tea, his gentle stirring traced the sacred spirals of manifestation. While arranging his desk, each object placement formed invisible geometric patterns of prosperity. His entire life had become a silent symphony of abundance practices, as natural as drawing breath. You now stand at the threshold of true mastery, where the extraordinary becomes ordinary, and the sacred becomes seamless. The integration of all you have learned transforms from conscious effort into natural flow, like a dancer who no longer counts steps but moves as pure expression. The synthesis of silent abundance practices into daily life follows 3 fundamental principles: invisible integration, continuous flow, and effortless maintenance. Each ordinary moment contains opportunities for powerful practice that remains completely hidden from the world's view. Consider how Madeline discovered this truth while working as a receptionist in a busy office. During phone calls, she silently performed abundance breathing techniques. While filing documents, her movements traced manifestation symbols. In meetings, she maintained her prosperity visualization while appearing to take notes. No one suspected that beneath her efficient exterior, she was conducting profound spiritual work that transformed her reality. Through Madeline's dedication, her entire day became a seamless abundance practice. Morning commutes became mobile meditation chambers. Lunch breaks transformed into sacred ceremonies of gratitude. Even waiting in line became an opportunity for energy alignment. As these practices became second nature, her manifestation power grew exponentially, while her spiritual work remained invisible to all observers. To begin your own integration, create a daily map identifying moments that can hold hidden practice. Transform routine activities into vessels for sacred work. Let your morning shower become a prosperity cleansing ritual. Allow your daily walk to trace abundance geometries. Convert household chores into moving meditations that activate wealth consciousness. The secret lies in maintaining absolute normalcy in appearance while conducting powerful inner work. Like a master martial artist whose most lethal moves appear effortless, your spiritual practice should become so natural that it leaves no visible trace. This invisible mastery creates a field of continuous manifestation without drawing attention or creating resistance. Begin now with the seamless integration practice. Choose 3 daily activities and assign each a specific abundance technique learned in previous chapters. Practice combining these elements until they flow naturally together. Gradually expand this integration until your entire day becomes a hidden symphony of spiritual practice, transforming ordinary moments into powerful prosperity portals while maintaining perfect outward normalcy. Like water flowing seamlessly through every crack and crevice, let your spiritual awareness permeate each action, each breath, each thought. The most profound transformations often occur in these quiet spaces between moments, where conscious intent meets mundane activity. Your daily life becomes an unbroken chain of sacred opportunities, each seemingly ordinary task holding within it the seed of extraordinary manifestation. Chapter 30. The Eternal Flow of Silent Prosperity. In the golden light of dusk, Samuel sits quietly on his veranda, watching his great-grandchildren dance through gardens born from decades of silent practice. Their laughter mingles with birdsong, creating a symphony of abundance that echoes through the generations. His weathered hands rest upon an ancient journal, its chapters filled with wisdom earned through years of private devotion. You now approach an understanding that transcends all previous teachings, that mastery of silent abundance has no final destination. Like the universe itself, this path stretches infinitely before you, each summit revealing new heights to climb, each revelation opening doors to deeper mysteries. The nature of true abundance work mirrors the spiral pattern found throughout creation, ever expanding, yet returning to the same principles at deeper levels. As your practice matures, you discover that material prosperity was merely the first octave of a greater symphony. The real treasure lies in the infinite unfoldment of spiritual wealth that continues beyond all physical manifestation. Consider Victoria, whose mastery of financial abundance through silent practice unexpectedly opened her awareness to higher dimensions of universal wisdom. After decades of perfect prosperity manifestation, she found herself spontaneously accessing profound spiritual insights that transcended mere material success. Her private prosperity rituals evolved naturally into gateways for cosmic consciousness, revealing that her entire journey with abundance was preparation for a greater awakening. Through Victoria's experience, you understand that your own path stretches far beyond current comprehension. Each level of mastery you achieve serves as a foundation for the next, creating an endless spiral of expansion. The silent practices you've learned are not final destinations, but launching points for eternal growth. To embrace this infinite journey, you must release all notions of arriving at a final destination. True mastery means maintaining the humility of an eternal student while wielding the power of accumulated wisdom. Your practice becomes an ever-evolving exploration of deeper truths, each breakthrough revealing new mysteries to explore. Begin now with the infinite spiral practice. Find a quiet space where you can be completely alone. Close your eyes and visualize your entire abundance journey as a spiral staircase ascending into infinity. See each turn of the spiral as a level of mastery achieved, while the steps continuing upward represent the endless potential still awaiting discovery. Let this image remind you that every achievement opens the door to greater possibilities, ensuring your practice remains eternally fresh and continuously expanding. Each step upward reveals new horizons of understanding, like rays of light piercing through clouds to illuminate previously hidden truths. Your journey of abundance becomes an endless dance of discovery, where every milestone reached serves not as a final destination but as a gateway to even more profound revelations waiting to be uncovered. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. As you close these sacred chapters, a profound transformation has taken place within your consciousness. You have crossed an invisible threshold, moving beyond the realm of seeking into the sanctuary of knowing. The ancient mysteries of silent abundance now pulse through your very being, their wisdom encoded in the depths of your soul. Through each chapter's revelations, you have discovered the fundamental truth that has guided prosperity masters throughout the ages: that true abundance flows not through proclamation, but through the sacred silence where all manifestation begins. This understanding now resides within you as an unshakable knowing, a compass that will guide your journey forward. You carry within your heart the master key that unlocks the infinite gates of universal abundance. Your hands hold the sacred tools of transformation, and your mind grasps the profound simplicity of working in shadows away from the diluting effects of public display. The silent abundance law has awakened in your consciousness, its whispers now as natural as your own breath. As you return to your daily life, you are transformed. A profound secret lives within you, the understanding that silence holds the greatest power, that secrecy contains the deepest magic, and that private practice opens the door to boundless prosperity. Your personal transformation will touch countless lives through invisible ripples of influence. Yet the wellspring of your abundance remains protected in the sanctuary of your private practice. Go forth now, silent master of these ancient ways. Let your life become living testament to these timeless teachings, even as their source remains hidden from view. The eternal flow of prosperity awaits your continued devotion, for you now understand the deepest truth of all, that in the depths of silence, all abundance is born. Your journey with these teachings has only begun, for in their practice lies the seed of infinite unfoldment. The path stretches ever onward, each step revealing new depths of wisdom, each practice unveiling greater mysteries of prosperity consciousness. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.